was published in 2001, it has become incredibly influential. It has been used for lots of different things, such as evaluating learners' language needs and developing learning materials, syllabus, and courses by developing continuous and self-assessment tools and tests and exams. And then Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to English Teaching Assessment course. In this course, we are going to discuss an interesting topic. It is about assessment versus testing and then language levels. Let's start discussing the first topic. It is assessment versus testing. Generally, in practice, we often use the word test and assessment interchangeably, but they do have slightly different meanings. Here, I will illustrate the difference with a helpful analogy. I can say that a test is photographs, then assessment such as formative assessment and classroom assessments or self-assessment is a mirror. Yeah, so we have two terms. A test is photographs and an assessment is a mirror. So you look at yourself in the mirror and you know where you are and you know what you look like. If the picture is taken and the picture is good, the picture will really have to coincide with the image that you had made of yourself. You also need to know what is expected from them and how they can best prepare for any assessment and what counts and what doesn't count, how they are going to be assessed. In short, assessment is like a mirror. It allows you to keep checking what you look like and you can make changes based on what you see. On the other hand, a test is a photograph. It captures one moment, just as you use a mirror to make sure you look your best before having a photograph taken. So classroom assessment can help to check progress when preparing for an important test. Alright, now we will move to the second topic. It is about language levels, which become another ideas in language classroom. It is very important to know. But what do we mean when we talk about language levels? Now, these days, we often describe levels by referring to CEFR or the Common European Framework of References. These levels help to describe the student's ability in a foreign language. The Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, more commonly known as the CFR, was developed by the Councils of Europe to describe language learners' ability in European languages, including English. And nowadays, lots of people have heard of the CEFR, but not many people actually know what it is or how it's been used. Basically, the CEFR is a framework that we use to describe in the broad terms a learner's language abilities. And in the past, we use words such as beginner, intermediate, and advanced to describe language learners' different levels of ability. And one of the problems with that is different people interpret these terms in different ways. So that's why, we use the new language level into CEFR. So one person's immediate might be seen by another person as being quite advanced, depending on their experience with particular learners. Within this CEFR, the levels are described in 3 tiers basics. It is independent, basic, and proficient. And each of these tiers has 2 levels, making a scale of 6 levels in all. The CEFR describes what the persons can do in language as they progress from the lowest level to the highest. It consists of a whole series of descriptions that are associated with each of the 4 skills such as listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And these descriptions are called can-do statements, and they focus on the different things someone can do with a language. For example, the speaking descriptions present statements about a learner's overall speaking ability and refer to making public announcement, speech or spoken statement, or interacting in conversations with other speakers. Let's take a look closer at the levels. If you are a complete beginner, you cannot be placed on the CEFR scale. Some people call such learners A0 or pre-A1 or even tourists. But since these learners are likely to be quite different with different interests and different ideas of what's important, this stage can be described in any systematical or in meaningful way. Okay, we start from the level 1. At level A1, person can understand and use the basic phrases relating to everyday life. They can do simple things like introducing themselves to people and can ask and answer questions about things such as where they live or people they know. The next level is A2. By now, a learner can talk about familiar and routine matters such as aspects of their backgrounds, immediate environments, and things that are immediately important to them by describing them in simple terms. By B1, or at B1 level, a learner is becoming more independent and can understand the main points of things to do with work, school, or leisure. If they are stated fairly clearly, they can deal with most general situations and describe experiences, events, dreams, hopes, and ambitions. We move to the level B2. Actually, at level B2, learners should be able to understand the main ideas of difficult texts on all sorts of topics, including technical discussions in their specialist field. And they can talk fluently with native speakers without any pressure on either side. At the highest levels, a learner can be considered a proficient user of the language. At C1, they can use the language effectively for all social, academic, and professional purposes, while at C2 level, they can easily understand virtually everything they hear or read, or can speak and write as well as anybody. Since the CEFR was published in 2001, it has become incredibly influential. It has been used for lots of different things, such as evaluating learners' language needs and developing learning materials, syllabus, and courses by developing continuous and self-assessment tools and tests and exams, and then developing teacher training programs, and the last describing government language policies. All major international tests claims a link between a course, their report, and CEFR, and so do all major textbook, language syllabus, and language programs. Its influence has spread outside of Europe to countries right across the world, including Indonesia, so that now it is recognized internationally. Here, the main value of CEFR has been it gives us a common language to describe proficiency levels. Therefore, the CEFR is now popular with teachers and around the world. If you want to learn more about CEFR, you should try the Council of Europe's websites, or you just browse your favorite search engines and search for CEFR, Okay, let's start discussing the first topic. It is WASBAC. Actually, WASBAC is an important concept in education because it describes the effect of an assessment or test on teaching and learning in the classroom. This can either be positive in the sense that it encourages good practice in classroom, or it can be negative in the sense that it encourages too much teaching to the test, when the test is not necessarily aligned with what we want to do in the classroom. It's an interesting idea where if you have tests in an education system, teachers and learners will modify their behavior in order to accommodate the requirements of the test. So, you are looking forward to a test and you are thinking, oh, I better do some test preparations. If the test preparation is positive, it means that you just carry on learning what you are supposed to. If it is negative and the teacher starts teaching to the test, for example, by practicing multiple choice questions, we call that negative WASBAC feedback effect. And I think it also something to do with the way you design the test. I would think that you design them to be positive in order to have the right relationship with the learning. Then, the most important thing is what kind of tasks we include in the test. If we have good tasks, real kind of use of language tasks. Then students can practice these tasks in the classroom and improve their learning. But having said that, I think even the best tests may not produce good washback. It all depends on the teacher's view of testing. So testing is only for the purpose of assessing their proficiency. If it's not going to replace teaching, but teaching is still the most important things. In short, washback is the influence of testing on teaching and learning. It can be positive or negative. And in language education, positive washback encourages the language learning, and a test has positive washback when test preparations activities are the same as the language learning activities. For example, doing a pair word speaking activity before a speaking test. Now, for negative washback, okay, it limits students' learning. Why? Because teachers and learners sometimes do activities which are not helpful for learning the language. Before I share more about the negative washback, I would like to explain you to the test construct because there is a strong relationship between negative washback and the test construct. Okay, let's start from the test construct. In simple terms, a test construct is a set of abilities that the test measures. To put it simply, it is the kinds of ability we are trying to test. For example, in a test of speaking, there's questions. Are we testing the ability to give a presentations, take part in the group discussions, or have a one-to-one conversations? Or how important is pronunciations in our assessment of students' performance? Or are we more interested in accuracy or fluency? And these things are all part of the construct of the assessment. Yes. And there are two main problems with the test construct. This can produce negative washback. The first, the construct can be too narrow, so only people or a number, of specific skills or abilities are tested. This may cause teachers and learners to restrict what they learn. For example, if speaking is not tested, teachers and learners may choose not to practice speaking in the class, even though it would be a useful skill in real life. To avoid this kind of negative washback, we need to include a wide range of the activity of speaking. And then the second one, sometimes language skills abilities are tested, but they are not connected to real life abilities which we need to learn. When the test is not relevant in this way, the negative washback can happen. For example, if a speaking test includes a memorized speech, the student may spend more time trying to memorize the speech than developing their speaking skills. And to avoid this kind of negative washback, it is important for tests to focus only on the language ability being tested. Okay, the next discussions, we will think about how understanding the construct of an assessment can help teachers to avoid teaching to the test. And this happens when teachers overuse examinations practice material. Instead, we can use tasks to help motivate learning in a positive way. And when people talk about this teaching to the test, we might imagine endless exam practice and view this in a very negative way. Yes, when people talk about the teachings to the test, it usually has a negative image. For example, we might think about a teacher doing a lot of practice tasks in the class, or only focusing on things that might be in the exam. And generally, teaching to the construct means focusing on developing the abilities that are being tested, not just practicing the test questions. Many international tests have well-developed constructs that reflect how language is used in real life. And when we teach to the construct of these tests, we develop our students' ability to use language in real-life situations. And of course, this only helps students to perform well in the test. For tests of speaking and writing, lessons should include the types of speaking and writing being tested. We should also give feedback which is based on the criteria used in the test. In addition, there is factor influencing washback. One of them is teachers. Teachers' beliefs are so important that the same test can produce different washback in different teachers. This could be because we don't know enough about the test. If we understand more about a new test, washback is more positive. So it is important for us to know more about this. So we need tasks that include a range of skills and abilities we want to develop, and teachers need to understand these tests. This will encourage teaching to the construct, which means teaching the skills that are in the test. This is an example of positive washback. It is one way that testing can positively influence teaching and learning. Yes, I think enough for today. Yeah, that's all information that I can share to you. It is about washback and then construct. Okay, see you in the next video because we will talk about the nice topic, assessing speaking. Okay, so don't miss the next video. See you. Have a good learning. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih sudah menyaksikan video pembelajaran ini. Jangan lupa like, komen, dan subscribe, serta nyalakan tanda loncengnya agar kalian tidak ketinggalan informasi update lainnya.